How is that for nostalgia? Welcome guys to our newest Pokémon Emerald Wi-Fi Battle. We're going on the Game Boy Advance on my own personal DS capture board. Let's hop into it and get into the action immediately in the Triggers PC team preview. Alright, two Trace Pokemon led by Gardevoir and Porygon 2. Swampert with the wrong nature, Armaldo, Ludicolo rounding out the team with a weather supporter, and catching these hands with Hariyama. Let's jump into it. Alright, a couple of things I didn't get to mention in the team preview: that Hariyama is Hidden Power Ghost, Ludicolo is Hidden Power Grass, and I believe we have one other Hidden Power in the team, but I don't remember. So he leads off with a big Tyranitar, getting the Sandstream up. Most important and most crucial mon in Generation 3 OU, because Sandstream is permanent other than weather. I do have Rain Dance on the back end here. He does show me a Skarmory. I thought he might want to go into like a Gengar or something, predicting like an early Cross Chop, but he shows a Skarmory. Now, Skarmory isn't too big of an issue. I very much expect this thing to have Drill Peck, but Hariyama's really defensive. Porygon 2 does have the Thunderbolt, or at least I want him to think so. I actually carry just Ice Beam and double edge coverage as he actually decides to get up one layer of spikes. So I'm thinking, okay, so he's got spikes. I've got Rapid Spin in the back with Armaldo just in case I need it later on. As he goes, he does a very, very nice play, goes ahead and puts the Toxic Affliction onto Porygon 2. That Ice Beam doesn't do hardly anything. I'm looking at this Skarmory thinking he might be a mixed wall, which is a really big issue. That means one of his defenses might be less than the other. I predict him to go for another layer of spikes or toxic. I am playing on dangerous water here, thinking that he definitely has the flying attack, but I've already seen toxic and spikes. So he goes for a toxic, and I'm like, oh yes, guts, go for a cross chop that unfortunately misses. God, I wanted to put a ton of damage on Skarmory, and I just wanted to see if he would predict me to switch out, knowing that he would have Drill Peck. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm getting out of here predicting the flying type attack. But he decides to swap out instead. I thought he would swap into something else, I guess predicting another cross chop. Maybe he doesn't have a flying attack. I hit the Celebi on the switch with the Hidden Power Ghost. And with my Guts Affliction, Hariyama is seriously just throwing hands. Catch these hands right here. I've always loved this Pokemon. Never seen it in Gen 3. So I make a really nice play here. I predict yet again a Gengar or something like that. I catch the Aerodactyl on the switch. I don't think the crit mattered with Guts boosted Rock Slide. Now he brings in this Skarmory again. Hariyama's already put in the finest of work. He's taken out the Aerodactyl, done some damage to Celebi, and did almost half the Skarmory with the cross chop. Now I get dragged out with the Whirlwind as spikes get set up again. And let me tell you something, even one layer of spikes is really relevant, but you're going to see later on, my opponent really has some nasty, nasty surprises for me that I am not expecting whatsoever. Very refreshing movesets. We'll get back into that later. So some spikes get set up, but I'm thinking here I could go for Wish and Shenanigans. I really want to get Hariyama back in, predicting him to go for Toxic on Gardevoir. So this tells me that he probably doesn't have some kind of flying attack to hit me. By the way, Xander's the amazing individual that did the hit-only video with me, so shout-outs to you, Xander. You're an amazing individual, just so you know, and your movesets are incredibly creative, and I love facing you with this team. The Double Trace Hariyama team, I've been working on this on the back end for some time, and it was definitely ready to come to the big screen. So here comes another Hidden Power Ghost, hitting Celebi hard and bringing it really, really low with Sandstorm, and I'm thinking there is a Psychic incoming to me at some point. I don't know how this thing is set up. I think it is now time to swap into Ludicolo, which I want him to think is defensive, but he sets up a light screen here, which is very, very interesting. Now, Ludicolo is significantly slower than Celebi, but Psychic is like the only single attack that it can hit me with. And even if he wants to... Oh, so that's what I do. I just get really aggressive and throw Armaldo in here. Whether he has Psychic, Hidden Power Grass, Leech Seed, whatever, I am scaring this thing out. Now, he's probably just going to go hard into Skarmory. And with Skarmory, I can just set up in its face because I do see Toxic and Whirlwind. But I want some damage on this Skarmory. But first, I'm going to Rapid Spin, predicting him to go into something else, or just to get those spikes off the field so that it stops doing massive residual damage to my team. Now, the thing is, if he's just going to spike up, I'm going to Swords Dance in his face, and he's probably like, okay, you can't hurt me with Hidden Power Bug. You're right, I can't, but I can go for something else. Armaldo is carrying a very nice attack, you don't see very well. He misses the Toxic, and I throw some rocks in his face. Get a crit on the first one. I don't think it mattered. 3 of these are enough to take him down. It would have probably taken 4. but I could have taken him out with Rock Blast. Now, I could hit him with a +2 Hidden Power Bug if I wanted to, but I'm not interested in losing Armaldo when I still have Ludicolo here. He goes for a Surf. It doesn't do much damage at all. Knowing I pack a Giga Drain, a Grass-type attack of some kind, this Swampert definitely swaps out 100%. I'm setting up the Rain on the switch so that I'm faster than the Celebi, hopefully being able to 2 or 3 hit KO it with Ice Beam, but also kind of to scout how the Celebi is set up as far as its attacks, and possibly get the Freeze and force it to swap out with a Natural Cure. Celebi's not having any of that, though. He just decides to set up a Light Screen in my face and not care. So I get aggressive again, and on this Leech Seed, I throw Armaldo back on the field again, and I'm like, okay, fine. If you're going to continue to just put Light Screens and Leech Seeds in my face, I'm going to put a very big bug in your face, which will absolutely devastate your entire soul and force you out into Swampert. I see that coming from a mile away. I set up a Swords Dance on the Swampert switch in, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to knock this thing out with Hidden Power Bug, but, you know, let's see how well we take a Surf. Rain Boosted Surf, we do not take that, and that's fine. I did not know what he wanted to go for. So now, here comes my Ludicolo, and I now know that I can attack Swampert easily, and he goes for a Toxic. I should have just straight up Hidden Power Grass this thing out of Oblivion, but I knew he wouldn't stay in, and he took that to my advantage with the Rain Dance. I predicted him to go Celebi or Tyranitar, honestly, and to Rain Dance on the switch so that I could bring Celebi low and also knock out Tyranitar, or bring it low with a Rain Boosted Surf. And let me tell you something, this Tyranitar is very, very surprising. You're going to see later. He brings in Magneton now to catch my Hidden Power, which is my Hidden Power Grass. I try to hit what I thought would be Celebi predicting something else, like Ice Beam or Rain Dance or something like that, and he just protects on this Surf, and you know what? That's just fair Toxic Affliction damage. But what I'm thinking in the back is at some point I'm going to take a lot of Toxic damage, and then he can just go to Tyranitar. But he decides to sack his Celebi to the Surf instead of Magneton, which is a really solid play, to be honest, as he now brings in Tyranitar, sets the Sand Stream back up, and between the Sand and Stone, Ludicolo cannot make it on its own. Nope, it sure can't. I get hit by the Sand Stream, and I get hit by the Toxic, and now it is a Swampert war. However, on the very first turn, I score the crit on his Swampert with my own Surf. I'm not in Torrent, and I have to be very careful. I've already seen Toxic on this thing, and that really bothers me. That means I have a very tough time beating his Swampert with my own, and now that my Ludicolo is down, which I should not have allowed, he really played around Ludicolo very, very well, dancing in the danger of the Ludicolo having the Grass-type attack to knock out the Swampert. This is shoutouts to the guy who subscribed for 3rd generation content. Shoutouts to you, man. And I've decided I don't think I want to do the Emerald DX stuff. It is flashy, it is pretty, but I know Nintendo's really cracking down on that, so I think we're just going to keep it plain Jane here. Gardevoir, I'm thinking I could probably go for a Wish and probably get something going here. And I'm sure at some point he just freely goes out into Tyranitar and sets back up. And I should have seen this. I should have gone for at least Thunderbolt, even though it wouldn't have hurt Swampert. I really kind of was in between a rock and a hard place. Also, has anyone ever thought Gardevoir or Ralts just looked like a golf ball? Anyways, I get Hariyama in. The Hidden Power brings me to 18 on the brink of death. Oh, and then I died of the Sandstorm. And now bringing Porygon 2. However, there was a turn that the Wish got me to a very low residual amount of health, and I had enough with Hariyama to do plenty of work with it. But you know what? It threw hands. It did plenty of work. I'm very proud of it. I've got a Porygon 2 trying to face down a Swampert, but the problem is this is Toxic, and he's still got Magneton in the back that resists both Double Edge and Ice Beam, and it also would resist Thunderbolt. So technically, Porygon 2 isn't getting anywhere. And the problem is, I already know this Magneton has Protect to do extra Toxic residual damage, as I know now swap into Gardevoir, who I Magnet Pull, but it's too late. I don't have any attacks to hit it, and the Thunderbolt brings me down. I have to keep Pert as healthy as possible. I get hit by Spikes. The Sand doesn't hit either one of us because he's stealing on ground, and I'm thinking, okay, why? This Magneton doesn't stay in. He goes for Hidden Power. My heart drops, and I take 10 damage. And I'm like, okay, it's Hidden Power Fire. Good God. Those words coming across the screen was scary. Now, I know this thing has hidden power grass, and let me tell you something. Guess what kind of Tyranitar he's running? Oh, we're not there yet. Sorry. So, Porygon 2 comes in, traces the Sandstream, gets hit by hidden power. 117. And I'm thinking, okay, I need to Thunder Wave this thing immediately. I've got to face down his Pert, which I don't think I can. I take Crunch on 10 HP. I'm poisoned. I go down to the poison or the sand, either one, whichever one hits me first. I've got a paralyzed Tyranitar, and guess what kind of Tyranitar my opponent is running? Specially defensive! What is that? That doesn't even do half! I guess we weren't in Torrent, but crit, super effective Grass Hold. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hail to 3rd generation. It's nice to be back. I'm going to be trying to do some cool retro stuff once a week. Thank you guys so much for watching and hopping into the time capsule with me. Until next time. Oh, by the way, look out for that big project me and Angel and I are doing. That's all. See ya. Take care. And until next time, power on, power off.